All right, this is part five. This is part five of a 100-part series, 100 days of answering questions about fatherhood as a first-time father. And I think today's question really resonated with me. When did I realize I was not the main character? And that moment for me was probably 48 hours approximately after Francis was born. We brought Francis home. We're working on latching, hoping that he's getting a good sleep schedule in, and his skin started to turn yellow. The whites of his eyes started to turn yellow, and they had warned us about this. What was happening was there was a buildup of something called bilirubin in his blood, which is excess platelets that are supposed to be flushed out through pee. But if a baby's not getting enough fluid, they're not peeing enough, bilirubin builds up, and if left untreated, can be really long-term bad news. So like with heavy hearts, oh, that was a blue jay. So with heavy hearts, we had to go back to Northwestern, into the NICU, and admit Francis for overnight treatment. He had to be set up in what kind of looked like a infrared treatment, big light shining down on you. Basically looked like one of those chicken egg incubators that you see in grade school. Big blue light though, shining down on him. And the light, I guess the UV light, helps break down those excess platelets. So that night, after intake, we're with Francis. We're saying our goodbyes and we head home. And when we got back to that apartment, it was just my wife and I. And we knew Francis was all by himself. It was, oh my God, it was gut-wrenching. I was sobbing, dry heaving. That was actually the night that I decided to no longer smoke. Because I was like, okay, I need to be fully present and sound of mind when dealing with these kinds of emotions and dealing with parenthood. But aside the point, being away from our son and realizing just how much of my emotional and psychological well-being are going to be tied to how this little boy is doing was a huge wake-up call for me. And the funny thing is weeks later, Francis is fine. Just like I'm sure one day Francis will fall down and scrape his knee really bad. I mean, he just fell off the bed last week. And it was like a bad dad moment for me. I ran downstairs to make a bottle and left him unattended on the bed, and he fell off the bed. And I'm checking to make sure that his pupils are dilating and he's not throwing up too much because I'm worried about him being concussed. And like with good reason, of course, and I felt horrible. It was so hard for me to stomach how bad of a dad I had just been. But, the bilirubin thing was outside of our control, but it just made me realize how important this little boy is to me. And that was the moment that I realized I'm not the main character of this story anymore. I have someone else that I'm looking out for. So this is part 5. Stay tuned. We got 95 more of these to go. And I'll see you in the next one.